A valid word can restore, but an army must obey. The Ottoman break that order. He want to Janissaries to act like a storm without direction. Mehmed must keep them as a sword in his hand, not a fire out of control. The walls of Targasiv become a stage where both rules reveal themselves. Valid sides behind fear. Mehmed stands before responsibilities. Valid use the weak as protection. Mehmed tries to protect the weak even while hunting the guilty. Valid believes that Mehmed tries to protect the weak while hunting. Well, terror can confuse justice. Mehmed believes that justice must become stronger when terrorized. This contrast is the soul of confirmation. It is not enough for Mehmed to defeat Walid physically. He must defeat the idea that cruelty is the highest form of power. Inside the city, innocent people are trapped in Nigermire. They do not choose. They are not think about political awarded or royal pride. They are thinking about survival. Mother hold their children close. Old men look toward the gates with tried eye. Young man prays. These people are the silent victim of cruel rule of the battlefield. The Sultan most sometimes stand against his own man of the sake of his own man. This is not the walls of become a stage where both rulers reveal themselves. Valid hides behind fear. Mehmed stand more before responsibility. Valid use the weak as a protection. Mehmed tries to protect the weak even while hunting the guilty. Valid believes that terror can confuse justice. Mehmed believes that justice become stronger when terrorized. The constructs inside the city. Innocent people are trapped in Nigermire. They do not choose. They are hurt. This is where Mehmed discussion become large than battle. If they save these people or at least tries to spare them, he send a message that reaches beyond the city. He tells that the Ottoman Sultan is not fighting ordinary people. He is fighting the who made their land bleed. This that message can awaken valid more than any Enogan because a ruler like Valid depends on making people believe that every enemy is worse than in. If they begin to see that there is another kind of power his hold over them begins to crack. But saving innocent people during war is not simple. The battlefield does not wait politely for moral discussion aroused. Do not ask who is guilty. Fire does not separate the cruel from the helpless. Once the attack begins, control becomes difficult. Mehmet now this is where his pause is the weakness. It is calculation. He studies wall, the scab roads, the people behind the wall, and the soldiers waiting for before him. His mind moves in my direction at once. This is what separates him from those who only want action. Kaya Alap and stepped forward near the gas, crying the sharp pressure of the front line. Men at the front always feel war first. They are closest to arouse stone fire. Danger begins when they move toward the gate. The air changes. The soldiers behind them feel that the moment is close. Every shield lifts higher. Every sword weight in the hand. The gate is not only wood and iron, it is the mouth of the city, and everyone now that once it open, history will rush through. Yet the gate is not only road that matters in war. A visible gate can distract from a hidden path. Valid is a man who survived by escape, surprise, and fear. If all I stay won the walls, he may vanish through forest and return later with another horror. This is why Ahmad Pasha and Bali Bey are so important. Veer Mehmed faces the moral trap in front of city. These commanders move like hunter through the darker side of the Capuchin. Their task is not glamorous, but it is vital. They must close the door that Valid hoped to use when his plan began to fail. The forest around feel like another enemy. The hide sound, the break lies of sight. They turn the delight into show. A man, how now the tears streets can make a small force feel larger and disappear, but Ahmad Pasha and Basil Bey cannot care less. Man, they know that they must imagine the path of a fragmented wolf. They must ask where he would run, become his last hope. This side of the story gives the Capuchin a strong sense of pressure. Valid is not only trapped by walls, he is trapped by mind working against him. Mehmed's mind holds a center. Ahmad Pasha and Basil Bey tonight the edge, Kia Alp and Taha Alp press the gate, the Janissaries wait like a storm. Every part of the Ottoman force become a hand closing around valid words. Still a trapped enemy may can be more dangerous than a fire one. When the valid feels the circus shrinking, he may become one more cruel, a desperate woman never had mercy is capable of anything in the place and political side of the story. Problem adds another layer of danger. The Capuchin Velima is already heavy, but the imperial future does not push because one front is burning. Kamran rises as a question that cannot not push because ignored, for the matter is not strategy, it is touch, loyalty, family, and identity. He must measure his duty to Sultan Mehmed against the Sultan of another responsibility. This is kind of choice is painful because there is no path without losses. Whatever a choice, someone will doubt him. Whatever he delays, someone will suffer. The importance of is the dilemma is that it reminds the audience how weird Mehmed world has become. A sultan may be stand before, but his shadow reach Kamran, the place, the border, and the midst of every princess. If one part of imperial weak enemies in another place grow bold, this is where Mehmed cannot afford it. Disorder inside in word house. Valid is a dangerous enemy, but divided loyalty can be even more dangerous. A sword raised by an enemy is expected. A crack within the state is more different to see until its spread. Heart is pulled in different direction. Loyalty to Mehmed is not a small matter. Mehmed is not only a ruler, he is the center of Ottoman order. The stand with him means standing with the future he is building, but Kamran carries its own weight. It is not only a name on a map, it has people, memories, promises, and political claims must divide with whatever the call before him is a duty or a trap. May political traps are wrapped in the language of honor. A man may think he is protecting one's responsibility while unknowingly damaging a greater one. This is the kind of problem that makes historical drama powerful. The battlefield gives us clear images, sword gets horrors, horse and fire. Politicals gives us quieter, dangerous hesitation, divided heart, messages, secret promises, and delayed decision. One wrong step in political can cost as much as a lost battle. Mehmed, now this better than most, he has seen how ambition can wear the clothes of loyalty. He has seen how enemies use family ties, regional pride, and all want to weaken the center. His empire is growing, and with growth comes pressure from every side. This series shows that Mehmet conquest is not a single event; it is a constant act of holding together may forces that want to separate. After Constantinople, he has two victory. He has to stop new enemies from forming. After each act of mercy, he has to show that mercy is not a weakness. After each act of punishment, he has to show that punishment is not cruelty. This balance is difficult, and that difficulty is what makes him a complaining under. At every eye wait for the Sultan command. Someone want a single to attack another. Others understand there is something usually behind this silence. Mehmet commanders may not all feel the same emotions, but they all know that the Sultan sees more than the nearest wall. He is thinking of the people trapped inside the enemy attention, the army disciplines, the political message, and the future memory of this day. This is the difference between a commander who wins a battle and a ruler who shapes history. A battle can be won in an honor. Its meaning can last of century. Valid Mainville waits for anger to do his work for him. This is the true method. He creates pain. The watches other react to it. He believes human beings are assist control when they are afraid to furious if they are afraid they obey him if they are strength lies in refusing to move according to valid rhythm. The Sultan must create his own thinking. He must make the enemy wait, doubt, and loses confidence. A trap becomes weaker when the victim refuses to step where the temp, temp maker expert. The moral question grow sharper when with every moment it just to delay punishment when the guilty enemy stands nearby. It is mercy to hold back when soldiers have already sacrificed so much. It is weakness to spare their whose place in front of a wall. Mehmed answer must be deeper than emotions. Just is not the same as speed. Mercy is not the same as fear. Discipline is not the same as hesitation. A rule who understands this difference can survive movement that were the story. Ordinary man, the man needs to learn this too. These soldiers must understand that the Sultan is not deny in front of their pain. This giving that pain a direction. Revenge want to strike whatever stand in front of it. Just choose the correct target. Revenge burns quickly and then leaves chase. Just build an order in which the same crime becomes harder to repeat. This is not easy. It requires authority, trust, and a voice strong enough to claim man who already prepared to die. Anger can become a powerful weapon if guarded properly. Men like him are not meant to be softened into silence. Their courage is needed, their loyalty is needed, their hunger for battle is needed, but the Sultan must make them understand that the true enemy is not innocent person standing where valid placed him. The true enemy is the cruel mind that issue innocence as cover. Once the soldier understand this, their anger becomes sharper. It no longer separates everywhere. It points toward valid. This transmission of anger is gone is one of the strongest them in this section. Anger itself is not only a wrong. Anger at injustice can move man to act. Anger at clarity man protect the weak, but anger without discipline becomes another form of cruelty. Mehmed's leadership does not remove anger from the army, it purifies it. He makes it survive a higher purpose. He takes the fire and places it inside a lamp instead of letting it burn the whose whole houses. The innocent people behind the wall may never understand that full political meanings of this movement, but they will understand whatever they are separate or sacrificed for them. Mehmet's discussion is not history, it is life or death. This is make the sultan responsibility more human. It is easy to talk about strategy from away. It is harder when real face stand in the path of the army. The series gains emotionally weight if placing ordinary people between two rulers. Valid treats them as object. Mehmed must prove that they are not. This is where the idea of imperial becomes important. An emir that want to last cannot treat every new land as a field of enemy. It must create a system where word not glued many language customize and communication. If he rules only by fear, he may hold land of an time, but he will always need violence to keep it. If he rules by law backed by strength, people may accept the new order even if they once feared it. Become a small explain of this large variant. Valid has no such vision. His rule is narrow and dark. He does not think of building trust. He thinks of making fear so large that no one dares to move. But fear is a poor foundation. It cracks when people see another possibility. It cracks when the ruler in wounded. It cracks when an enemy reaches the gate and people realize the feared man cannot perfect even himself. Valid traps show that his power is already breaking. A ruler who must hide behind his own people has admitted without word that he has lost the right to lead them. Still valid remains dangerous because broken man can cause great harm before the fall. His mind is full of sharp corners. If one plane fell, another may be waiting. His mind is sacrifices soldiers, burn stories, and his files messages or create panic among civilians. He may try to accept while others side in his place. He may even turn his own defeat on one stumble if they friends. The word right stage Mehmed nowadays that is way he cannot satisfied with anger at the gates. He must think of the whole battlefield like a map held in a mind. Ahmed Pasha and Basil leave front priesthood because more than under this logic they are not only closing this tree at the wall may become empty if Walid slips away. The Ottoman army could capture at the city and still leave the shadow alive. The word allow enemies to whisper that Walid survived the Sultan again in politicals and war. Survival can sometimes to whisper what Walid survived the Sultan again in political and war. Survival can sometimes be painted as victory by those who have nothing else to claim. So the road must close, the rifles must be washed, the forest path must be checked. Every loyal man of valid must to be doubted. Every hidden guide must be suspected. This kind of war demands patience and suspicions. It is not the bright glory of banners in open field. It is the dark work of preventing a snake from finding a hole. Bali Bay and Gedik Ahmad Pasha carried this responsibility with the seriousness it deserves. If the success valid word before becomes a catch, if they fail, the nightmare may continue. The constraint between the front gate and the forest road gives the story moment at the city. At question is how to enter the forest. The question is how to prevent escape. A question the series do not let one problem stand whole. It's slow that a sultan life is made of many problems arriving at the same time. This is realistic and dramatic because great rulers are rarely tested on the one by one. The storm came together. Mehmed's strength is his ability to remain centered. He does not become small because the problems are many. He becomes more focused. Every danger pushes him danger into his rule. He now that enemy want with scattered valid want to anger immediately answer. The people want safely. History wants greatness. All of this demands press on him, but he does not bend easily. He troubles pressure and turns it into action. A strong voice over can describe Mehmed at this moment as a man standing at the meeting point of sword and constrains his hand and can command that, but he heart must guard. Just his eyes see the city, but his mind sees the emperor. He feels anger, but his faith reminds him that anger must answer to truth. He hears the cities to revenge, but he also hears the silent cry to innocent people trapped behind the enemy. While this layered pressure makes him more than a warrior, it makes him a ruler. The faith element in the series adds depth to this choice. Mehmed belief is not only private comfort, it shapes his idea of responsibilities. He now that power is a trust. Our ruler may fool people with speeches, but he cannot fool the creator. Excuse if innocent blood is spilled because of carelessness. Victory will not erase the account. The belief gives his restraint, meaning he is not holding back because he fears valid. He is holding back because the fear becoming unjust. The that fear is not weakness; it is moral strength. Valid cannot understand this. To him, restraint looked like hesitation, mercy looked like a point of attack, consensus looked like a weakness to exploit it. That is the billion of cruel man. They think goodness is softened because they are have never felt its discipline. They either Mehmed patience, confusion valid because it does not come from fear, it comes from command over the self. A man who controls himself is harder to the defeat than a man who only controls others. As this tension rises, the soldier began to feel that the Sultan's silence has purpose. This is important. At first, silence may frustrate them, but when soldiers trust their leaders, they can wait even when they do not fully understand. Truth is built over time. Mehmed has earned to through early victories, scars and variant. They may burn for action, but they also now he is not a crowd. No one can look at the conqueror of Constantinople and believe he fears walls. So if he push, there must be a reason. This trust gives him space to act wisely. Kya Apla and Taha Alpa at this guest represent the readiness of the army. They are like the drowned around waiting to be released. Their presence shows that Mehmed is not ignoring the military need. The army is still prepared. Is Ottoman can still come. The Sultan mercy do not mean the shrouded is asleep. It means the sword waits for the correct moment. This is powerful imagine and blood held steady not because the hand is weak but because the eye accurate accurate inside the city. Mehmed must protect the truth of his rule from the imagine. He must show that Ottoman justice does not collapse under pressure. This does not mean he must be gentle with valid. It means he must be accurate. The guilty must not hide behind the innocent. The innocent must not to be punished for the guilty. This principle is simple. Is word are difficult in war, but it exactly the kind of presence that builds litigants. People may fear a strong rule, but they respect a strong rule who can also be fair. The soldiers' anger begins to change when they understand that the Sultan is not protecting valid, he is protecting the horror on the army. A victory stained by innocent blood would follow them home. It would become whisper, it would become an excursion. Valids truly would spread into their own memory. Mehmed does not allow that. He refused to let valid chooses what kind of man they will become. This is one of the most powerful meanings of the scene. The Sultan is not only saving civilians, he is saving his army from behind used by the enemy evil. This idea can spoken simple in the script. Valid want to Ottoman to win a monster so he can die like a victim. Mehmed want to win like a ruler so Valid is exposed as the monster he truly is. That is the distance Difference between revenge and justice. Revenge cares only that the enemy suffers. Justice carries that truth is made clear. Mehmed want to word to see clear. Meanwhile, the political clouds around Kamran continue to gather. Choose becomes more urgent. Becomes enemies already attack only with sword. Uze Hassan and other power understand that the Ottoman state is strongest when it unites around Mehmed. So the best way to weaken is to pull at its edge. Kamran can become one such edge of some moves wrongly, even with good intentions. He may give the enemies of Mehmed a chance to say that Ottoman house is divided. Such word can be more dangerous than arrows because they travel quickly and invite others to rest. The empire must learn that personal honor and state duty are not always the same thing. Sometimes a man wants to prove loyalty to one group and ends up damaging a great trust. Sometimes he wants to show courage and ends up serving another man. Plain Mehmed words too full of episode trying to guide strong feelings toward useful outcomes. Valid guidance, fear, political rivals, guide, pride, views, rulers, guide, duality. The place side of the series like feel far from, but it is connected. The place is where the future of the state is happened in quiet way. Marriages, mothers, princes, servants, scholars, and officials all influences the atmosphere around the throne. A peaceful inside the place can become a discussion at the abroad or more about loyalty that conquest outside be matched by old inside. If the place becomes unstable, the battle becomes harder. This is way Mehmed rules requires more than courage. He needs I everyone but not in a branded away. He needs trusted people, wise counsel, strong discipline, and a clear center of authority. The empire is growing too large for strong discipline, and a clear victory adds new responsibilities. Every new land brings new people to games to government. Every enemy fated create another. Every who fears he will be next. The Sultan must think like a warrior, judge, bullier, diplomat, and graduate at the same time. At the Mehmed is the warrior because he stands before the enemy. He is not judged because separates guilty from innocent to is built because he thinks of the order, the must that must come after conquest. He is the diplomatic because he now that his victory will be seen by other powers. He is graduating because his army, his people, and even the helplessness behind enemy wall now depends on his choice. Few sense can show the complete burden of refreshing more clearly. Valid currently also focus the audience to think about the meaning of fear. Fear can make people obey, but he cannot make them love. It can silence mouth, but it cannot create terror. He reached for for terrors. They are empty. Emma just may more slowly, but it has roots. Roots are quiet, but they hold the tree when storm comes. This is the deeper battle between two men. Valid is noise, Mehmed is order, valid is shock, Mehmed is many. Valid want this world to fear what he can do in one night. Mehmed want the world to recognize what he can build for generation. One man uses that to hide weakness, the other accepts the weight of that but tries to place it, violences it must show not only that he is stronger but that his strength has a higher purpose. This situation at the gates become almost unbelievable. The army want movement, the enemy waits, the victims suffer, the commanders brings report, the forest pursuit continue, problem grow in distance, story in behind being pulled together at the same time. This is good drama because it makes the viewer understand that one discussion can affected many lives. The Sultan command is not just a word, it is the beginning of sequences. Mehmed possible strategy must be careful. He may need to create a control opening separate civilians from valid forces, use pressure without of distraction and time the attack with movement outside the city. He may need to make valid one thing while preparing another. He may need to claim the genesis with word to thing while preparing another. He may need claim the genesis with word honor their pain but forbid blind revenge. He may need to trust Ahmad Pasha and believe to close the road before the man action. Whatever the exact move, it must combine mercy and strategy. That is the story answer worthy of him. A ruler like a ruler expected mercy to slow Mehmed because down, but mercy guide the intelligence can become a trap for the ruler if Mehmed refuses to harm the innocent. Valid losses he shield if Mehmed keeps the army disciplined. Valid losses the chose he wanted if he escaped. Roads close, valid loses time if the gates fall under controlled pressure. He loses the city. In this way, every part of valid plan can be turned against him. The temper maker can become trapped. The emotional force of the movement comes from the fact that Mehmed must trust his own principles. Principles under pressures. Principles are easy in peaceful rooms. They become real only when they lost something. If justice costed time, it will the still movement. Will he still hold the line? The answer defend him. This is where this section should not rush quickly to hold the line. The answer battle. The push itself is dramatic because the soul of the Sultan is begun tested for the audience. This creates respect. Viewers do not only admire a hero because he wins, they admire him because they understand what he refused to become. Mehmed refused to become valid. He refused to let cruelty. He set the rules. He refused to let innocent blood become the price of impatience. He refused to let anger speak louder than justice. These refuse are victories before the sword even move. Still, The sword must move eventually. A ruler cannot stand forever. The true justice that never acts becomes weakness. Mercy that the never pushes the guilty becomes permission for evil for continue. Mehmed now this balance. He is not a man who hides behind kind words. He took because he could act when the movement came at to action will come, but when it comes must come with meaning. The enemy must know why is it. The enemy must understand why it falls. The innocent must see that they were not forgotten. This series built Mehmed greatness through this union of thoughts and actions. Some men think deeply but cannot act. Some act quickly but cannot think deeply. Mehmed is the rhythm of a conquered patience before the streak forcing during the streak order. Without order, victory becomes dust. The forest trees add a darker rhythm beside the history. City tension, Bali Bay, and Greek Ahmed Pasa move through place where sunlight may not reach the ground. Clearly, their man destined for movement. A broken branch can mean nothing or it can mean an ambition. A conquered path can be safe. The soldier cannot trust every silence. This creates a second kind of battlefield, one where nervous matter as such. A word Basil Bay cards is useful here. It is experience matters more. He now that enemies who run are not always defeated. Sometimes they are leading you toward a place they prepared. Ahmed Pasa must balance speed and calculation. Move to place they prepared slowly, and valid aspects move too quickly, and the hunters become hunted. This is the slowly and art of pre-shoot. Pre-shoot, it looks simple from far away, but every choice can lead to that. The commanders must read the land like a book written in mud, leaves, smoke, and fear as the close roads. They also close imagination. An enemy can endure danger as long as he believes there is a way out. Remove the belief, and his mind begins to shake. Valid has built this legend on making others afraid. Now the Ottoman commanders must make him feel hunted. This reverses is important. The man who turned forests into place of terror must now fear every sound in whose same forest. The man who made others wondered there where he was strict must now wonder where is Ottoman wait for him. The physiology reversals prepares for all. The valid image. His body may still alive, his sword may still be sharp, and his pendy man still be cruel. But the legend begins to control the story. It shrinks when it must run through back roads. Mehmed companion is there not only about defending whether soldier, is it about changing the story from valid the terror to valid to trained. The people of may feel this change before anyone say it openly. For teach people to read Small sign they now when a ruler is confident and when he is now army continue to advance with discipline, and if valid continues to hide behind civilized once the thought enter a population began to crack. In the Ottoman camp, Mehmed presence holds everything together. The man may argue in the hearts, but his commands remain the center. This is where leadership in speech movement is also almost physically. The Sultan clam becomes a wall stronger than his eyes tell the commanders that the pain is not lost. His silence tells the enemy that range will not rule. He eventually words must give shape to the next moment. He must speak not only as a commander but as the voice of state. A strong speech from Mehmed is this section word not been complicated language. He could remind his men that they did not come to punish the helpless, they came to be the rule of a tribe. He could he could tell them that their merits do not ask for behind blood but for justice. He cannot that valid want to make them forgotten who they are about. They will innocent will not be treated as enemies. Such words would claim the army without calling its cards. This kind of leadership makes soldiers feel Mehmed does not stay. Their anger is wrong. Pain to discipline when men feel that other suffering can meaning they can endure more. When they feel leader understand them, they can without longer. When they believe with just is coming, they can control the ungroup for immediately the next movement of the battle. She feel wanted to Genesis loses the wanted him. Discipline means to Ottoman are thinking. Discipline means they are not afraid. This disciplined just is harder for the fight. At the same time, the pressure from Greek Ahmed Pasha and Basil Bay means Walid cannot comfortability but wait his hidden road may be closing, his managers may not return, guides may be captured, his soldiers may begin to whisper. Every minute he look wanted delay Mehmed as delay to be people protect him. Mehmed makes processes a proof of valid shame. Solution remains a warning in the background even if Mehmed wins at the Imperial will still need duty until the story preparing us for the trust choice will rise again. The Sultan words is never empty. Each victory creates space for next. History is a river, not a single scene. This section can close by bringing all these lines together. Is no longer only a city to taken. It is a court where valid crimes are begun exposed. It is major where Mehmed just begun choices may involve beyond the capital. Every character trend at a point where his true nature begins show. Mehmed stands strongest because he carries the heaviest burden and still does not lose himself. Greatness is to show only by the number of soldiers behind him. It shows by his refusal to let those words soldiers becomes tool of someone else evil. He now valid cannot be allowed to escape justice. No choice between strength and mercy. He forces them to stand together. As the final moment of this section approach, the army is already the front lines were near the gates. Kia, Alp and Taha Alab prepare to push where danger is greatest. Doga and Genesis hold their anger under the Sultan command. Gidik, Pasa and Basil leave move through the forest, cutting the road of escape. Face the weight of a choice that may affect the empire's future, and Valid, who once believed fear would protect him, begins to feel that fear tumbling back toward his own heart. The wind moved across the banners, left the soldiers breath as one behind the walls. Innocent people wait for the difference between a and sultan to watch the city with the patience of a ruler who now that history belongs into the loudest currently but no strongest. Just the order has not yet fully fallen from his lips, but is meaning the coming streak to already clear. This will not be a blind attack. This is well the answer of state or to our the answer of discipline to terror, and the answer of Sultan Mehmed to the darkest test placed before him. And when that answer finally comes, Valid will learn fear that can delay justice, but it cannot defeat it forever. The third part of the story began at the edge of a city. Part of the story begins at the edge of a city where silence feels more dangerous. That battle stands before the Ottoman army like a wounded beast that still has it. Its walls are not only stone, they are covered with fear, pride, and not fixed only on the gate. He is reading the whole sense. He sees the soldiers who want revenge. He sees the commanders waiting for his order. He sees the innocent people trapped by crowdly plan. He sees the enemy hiding behind those people, and above all, he sees the test the history and has placed in front of him. A simple ruler would make a simple discussion. He would say attack, and the army would move. The gate would shake, the walls would burn, and the city would fall under the weight of anger. But Mehmed is not a simple ruler. He know that easiest action can become the most dangerous mistake if he gives his army to anger. When plan will work, Vida does not need to defeat the Ottoman army in one battle. If he only need to resistance pain to into blind violences, they can say to the world that Mehmed is no different from him. This is the passion inside Violet Trap is not only a military plan, it is a plan against Mehmed's name, against Ottoman discipline, and against the idea of a justice conquest. Valid has placed innocent people in danger because he wants their lives to become useful. Their helplessness is useful. This is the mark of a tyrant. He cannot protect him people, so he decide he hadith behind them. He cannot win the honor, so he tries to make this enemy lose his honor. Mehmed unstable. This city clearly his manage is real, but his vision is strongly than his anger. He has not matched through hardship only to become the kind of ruler well with want him to become. He has carried Ottoman banner through blood and fire, not always quick, sometimes just must wait for the right opening. Sometimes it must hold the sword in the air until the guilty stand near stand clear the innocent. That this is not weakness, this is command. The Ottoman soldiers are not calm like their sultan. Many of them cannot see the full picture. They are the wall, they are the same enemy. They remember their marks. They cannot beside them and now sleep under the earth. The earth asks for a thing, a revenge for them. Every moment of waiting feels like pain. Their hands are ready, their sword are ready, their cause is ready, only the order is missing. Doga feels like fear of the Mehmed want to truth to see. He know that if the people of see Ottoman soldier kings killing without control, lies will leave. But if they see the Sultan trying to spare the help will hunting the guilty, a new thoughts will enter their hearts. They will see that violence currently is not their only possible future. They will see that understand that fear is not only language of power. This is how empires win more than land. They win the minds of people who once stood behind enemy walls at the front. Kia, Alap and Tahalap prepare for the gate struggle. Their rule is not only physically strength, they become possible of the army forward pressure. The wall may be thick, the door may be heavy, and the enemy may be desperate, but the Ottoman lies does not step back. This man stand where danger first open its mouth. They are the kind of warrior whose courage gives strength to others when they move. The soldiers behind them feel the movement of victory. Still, their strength must be guided by timing. A gate is not only broken by force, it is broken by force at the right moment. If they rush too early, valid trap may take innocent lives. If they wait too long, the enemy may prepare another plan. The balance is thin, but this is where Mehmet command becomes essential. He must decide when the gate is not only weak in wood and iron but weak in meaning. He must strike when plan has begun to fall. Far from the gate, the forest hold another part of the story. Ahmad Pasha and Basil Bey move toward the shadow as not as men for looking for glory, but as men closing the final door of escape. This is the hidden side of war. The audience may look at the wall, but the fate of the battle may depends on a narrow forest road behind hidden river path or a guide who now where valid might run. Valid has survived many times because he know how to escape when others think his battle is over. He turns retreat into legend. He turns survival into weapon. Mehmed Pasha and Basil Leave must stop that. Their pursuit is dangerous. Because valid land is full of trap, a quiet forest is not only always empty. A broken branch may be a warning, a path may be chosen because it is safe or becoming like him. They must understand his fear, his pride, and his habit of using darkness. They must imagine where a desperate would hide if the city fell. They must block the road before his horse reach it. They must close the cage before the animal. Now the door is gone. Basil Bay crisis is separate of the fortunate. He understands speed, risk, and sudden violence. He now that hesitation can let an enemy vanish. Great Ahmed Pasha cries and the weight of command. He understands that a wild chase can become a trap. Together they must balance fire and caution. If they move too slowly, valid escape. If they move too fast, but it can decide and everything. Block at Mehmed mind connect all these pieces. He now that can attack at the gate and a shoot in the forest and not separate matter. They must work together. If the gate is pressured at the right time, valid may try to fields. If the forests are closed at the same time, that flight becomes impossible. If the army keeps discipline at the walls, valid propaganda collapse. If the civilian survive, he is partly too exposed. If he escapes, his legend breaks. This is not only a sign, it is a complete design. This is why Mehmed is dangerous to his enemy. He does not see war as one blow, he sees it as many movements serving the purpose. He uses chords, timing, moral clarity, and strategy at the same time. Valid tries to fight with fear, but fear is a smaller weapon. It can shake man for a movement, but it cannot build a full plan. When the enemy refuses, panic, Mehmed clan begins to steal the power from valid trap. The longer the Sultan refused to act blindly, the weaker tricks become the genesis. However, still burn inside the discipline hold, but the fire does not disappear. They are men of war trained to obey, but they are also human. They hear the stories from the front. These they see the suffering caused by Valid. They now their brothers died because of his tricks. Some of them may wonder why justice must wait them when evil stands for so near. This question is natural. Mehmed must answer it not only with words but with results. If he delay, he must make the delay meaningful. If he retrains them, he must still lead them to victory. A sultan authority is not tested when anyone agrees with him. It is tested him. Brave man want one road and he chooses another. Mehmed Gruntius appears here. He can hold the army without crushing it. It can guide anger without insulting in. It can softness word weaken the army too much. Hardness word make the soldiers feel unheard. Mehmed gives them a higher reasons to obey. He reminds them through his presence that the Ottoman sword is not bandit knife. He does not move from choice, it moves for order. It does not kill because it is angry, it is punishment because justice demands it. The soldier may not hear a long speech, but they can read the Sultan faced the Sultan. They now he has not forgotten the mystery. They not he has the because he heart has cold. The word justice become the center of the movement. Justice is not gentle weakness. Justice can sharp. Justice can punish. Justice can tear up from the holding place, but justice also I see the difference between the guilty and the innocent. Vida want to blind those eyes with anger. Mehmed refused. He will not let jealousy become revenge with a cleaner name. He want to guilty target. He want to real enemy. He want valid side. Fear begins to change direction. At first, Valid believes he controls the scene. He believes the civilians behind the walls will slow the disciplined slow. Mehmed divided the Ottoman army and give the time, but as the Ottoman remained disciplined, valid confidence began to weaken. He trap depends on the enemy losing control. If the enemy does not lose control, the trap becomes evidence against him. The people he placed as shield do not protect his honor, they reveal his shame. This is the beginning of valid defeat. Therefore, the physical defeat, a ruler who depends on terror must keep the image of control. He must make everyone believe he now that will happen next, but he Mehmed refused to move as expected. Valid loses control of the history. His cruelty no longer looks like strength, it looks like fear. His pain no longer looks like genius, it looks like desperation. This is the generation for him because his power lives in the imagination of others. Once people imagine him weak, his throne begins to shake. The common people understand desperation better than noble things. They have lived under commands, taxes, punishments, and fear. They know when a ruler protects them and when he uses them. If they see valid hiding behind them, they will remember it. Even if they say not nothing, this memory will remain. Often survives because people are afraid to speak. But silence is not loyalty, silence is only a closed door. Behind the door, memory gone. Mehmed just can open that door. If people are separate, even partly, they will carry the story. They will say the Sultan would have stored everything, but he would back until the guilty would be struck. They will stay. Valid place them in defeat path that Mehmed did not rush to temple them. Such stories are more powerful than official order. They pass through markets, home villages, and sacrifices. They challenge how people understand power. This is the kind of Mehmed wants. He wants victory that speaks after the army leaves. He wants to the land to remember that Ottoman strength revived the discipline. He wants start becoming lasting when he fear punishment and hope for order exist together. Valid rule can build wheel. Valid rule can only damage the Kamran problems. Main wheel grows like a second shadow behind the main capuchin. Shahzadi stands at a different point. The new look Kamran is heavy, a small disturbance. He wants a header alliances that can challenge Ottoman powers. Such alliances but built by finding weak point. A princess in doubt can become a door. A region with all loyalty can become a weapon. A movement when Mehmed is not busy, Walima can become an opportunity. Dilemma is painful because it is not a simple choice between good and evil. If we are simple, there would be no drama. He feels loyalty to Sultan Mehmed, but he also feels the pull of Kamran future. He may believe that action is necessary. He may fear movement. Does his choice protect order, or does he it served a plan made by others in politicals? The most dangerous trap is the one that make a man feel noble while guarding him toward disloyalty. The mirror Mehmed situation are valid use innocence to trap Mehmed. Justice Anuze Hassan alliances may use duty to trap loyalty. In both cases. The quality mercy becomes a trap, horror becomes a trap, loyalty becomes confused duty. That the most dangerous wars are found inside human choice. Mehmed has learned that through may struggle before constitutions. He had to fight doubt in his own state during the conquest. He had to fight wars and politicals together. After the conquest, he had to rule and word that he changed because of them. Knew in the he faced an enemy who had to attack his consciences at the same time. The eyesight and see he will return after every problem moves at once. This makes Mehmed claim more impressive. He is not calm because there is there is no more long danger. He is calm because danger becomes the normal air around him. He now panic is unusually. He now anger must be controlled. He now delay can be useful only by be guided by justice. The truth lies in him like the pillars of a great hall. When height he stands because those pillars hold at gravities. The Ottoman banners move in the wind. The soldiers wait. Commanders send and receive messages. Scotch return from this fortress. Every received troop has been seen. Maybe the civilian near the walls can be separated. Maybe was word a great commanders. Now that too much speech can weaken the wear of command. He speaks when speaks must become action. The pressure of Kaya grow. They now that when the order comes, they will be among the first to face that the gate may be defeated. They defend without error, boiling oil, stones, or hidden traps. Every step forward can be the last, yet they do not name in a crowd. They present men who put their bodies between the sultans, turn through into movement or justice with a different energy. They are like a storm held behind a mountain. Their anger has not disappeared, but it has been forced into shape. This is dangerous for valid. A man can trick a disciplined, angry army is may more fragmented. It carries the hate of revenge, but it moves under commands that want to use against him and turned it back toward to him, enemy towards. This is one of the lesson of section. The enemy may not able to choose your occasion, but he will try to choose your emotions. While it tries to choose anger for the Ottoman, he tries to choose doubt for Mehmed. He tries to choose fear for the civilized. Heart tries to choose confusion for battlefield. Mehmed wins the first battle of refusing of confusion and just instead of build revenge, because in the forest the same rule applies. Valid wants pressure to feel fear and hurry. Ahmed Pasha and Basil May must choose patience and sharpness. They cannot let the becatch darkness of the trees enter their mind. They cannot imagine Valid as a ghost who cannot be catch. He is not a ghost. He is a man, a cruel man, clever man, dangerous man, but still a man. Man needs roads, food, alliances, horses, and time, but those away, and even the most towering name become weak. The hunt for valid escape path is therefore also a hunt for the story of Mehmed Fetihler Sultani is not only the story of one throne, one sword, or one great victory. It is the story of a young ruler who carries a dream that looks impossible to everyone else, and then after reaching that dream find out that the real impossible to everyone else test has only begun. Many people remember Sultan Mehmed as the conqueror of Constantine, that man who changed the direction of history and opened a new age. But this series shows something deeper than the famous moment of conquest. It shows but the heavy road before the victory, the dangerous silence after it, and the enemies who rise again when they think the Sultan is tired. In this world, victory is never the end. Victory is only the door to a harder battlefield. When Sultan Mehmed takes the throne, he does not sit like a man who simply wants big power. He sits like a man who cites a man who has already seen a future that others cannot see around him. Many people look at the empire as it is. Mehmed looks at what it can home become. This him in this main fire of the series. He is young, but his Mehmed moves like a journal who has lived many lives. He understands books, maps, rhymes, faith, tried cities, road, and people. He now that an empire is not built only by winning battle, and empire is built by other justice, fear in the heart of enemies, and trust in the heart of people. But to create all of this, he must first survive those who smile in front of him and sharpen Kings behind his back. At the beginning, Mehmed dreams of conquering Constantinople. Looks too large of his age. The old man who the state think he is moving too fast. Some believe he is brave but too brave. Some believe he is clever but no patience enough. Some fear that his dream will pull the Ottoman state into a disaster to them. Conquestion is not only a city, it is a wall that has stood against many kings. May he sees weakness, pride, fear, hunger, politics, and the hidden cracks inside the enemy. This is what makes him different. He does not fight only with sword. He fights with time, patience and vision. This series gives Sultan Mehmed a powerful inner struggle. He is not shown as a simple hero who never feels pressure. He carries anger, pain, loneliness, and doubt, but he does not let these feelings rule him. He listens, watches things, and then act around him. Some test his truth, some test his right to rule in place. What can be dangerous as a rose, a sentence spoke in the wrong room can become a rebellion. A secret pushed to the wrong ear can open the gate for an enemy. Mehmed learns that a sultan must hear not only what people say but also what they hide. The place in Mehmed Sultani is not only peaceful home, it is a place where love, loyalty, jealousy, fear and ambition live under the same roof. Every corridor has a state matter. The women of the place do not stand outside the story, they are part of the struggle. They protect their children, defend their place and sometimes under the danger faster than the man who carries sword. This makes the story stronger because the Imperial is not only built in battle camps, it is also shaped inside room where people whisper, carry, plan, forgive and betray before contestants falls. Mehmet faces enemies inside and outside at the same time. This is one of the most important part of his journey. If he only had to fight his road would still be hard, but he also has to fight doubt inside his own state. He must convince soldiers that the dream is possible. He must silence men who want him to fall. He must control powerful officials who believe they know the imperial better than he does. He must manage all alliances and a dangerous boarded will the city stand in front of him. The whole world watches from the side. Someday, some prayer for him. City stand in front of him to all, to some wait to attack if he becomes weak. Some pretended to be a friend, will friend the enemy with hope. Itself is shown as a city full of fear, pride, and sadness. Inside its wall, there are rulers who know that their old power is fading, but they still hold on to honor. There are soldiers who are tried but not ready to surrender. There are people who want peace, but peace no longer listen to them. The city is not only a prize; it is a symbol for the. It is the last breath of an old empire. For Mehmed, it is the key to a new world. When two such meanings meet, the battle becomes more than war, it becomes destiny. Mehmed's preparation for the conquest showed why is called Fidar Sultani, the Sultan of conquest. He does not depend only on cards. Cards without planning is only noise. Mehmed builds his dream step by step. He studies the walls, he controls the sea roads, he thinks about cannons, ships, supplies, cities, and moral. He understands that soldiers must believe before the attack. A wall can be broken by iron, but any army can break only when its heart breaks. So he protects the heart of his army. He speaks their faith, their pride, and their memory. He reminds them that they are not walking their faith, their pride, and their memory. He reminds them that they are not walking toward or ordinary city. They are walking toward a promise that has lived for centuries. When the conquest finally comes, the series does not make it feel like an easy miracle. It feels like blood, moods, tears, smoke, and willpower. Every step costs something. Every victory takes someone. The walls do not fall because one man wishes them to fall. They Mehmed greatness is not only that he wins, his greatness is that keep standing. When the price of winning becomes heavy, he does not run back. When fear separate, he does not lose direction. When the night become long, He pushes forward because the now history does not open its gates to those who knock softly. But after conquest is taken, the real question begins. What does a conqueror do after victory? A weak ruler becomes drunk on success. A cruel ruler turns victory into revenge. A careless ruler lets choice eat what he has gained. Mehmed must prove that he is not only a man who can capture a city, but a man who can rule it. This is where the story becomes more mature. The sword wins the gate, but justice must win the people. The Sultan must turn fear into order, order no into trust, and trust into a lasting state. After the conquest, Mehmed understands that the world has changed, but the enemies have not disappeared. They have only changed their shape. Some enemies now hide behind diplomacy, some hide behind religion, some hide behind family clan, some hide in forests, mountains, and castles. Europe looks at Muhammad with new fear. The fall of is not only an Ottoman victory, it is a shock that travels from court to court. Kings, princes, church leaders, merchants, and commanders understand that the young Sultan is not a passing storm, he is a new power, and because they fear him, they begin to search for a way to stop him. This is where the story after become even more dangerous. Mehmed has proved that they can do impossible. Now everyone asks the same question: what will he do next? That question creates panic. It is also create points. Some enemies want to attack him openly, others want to weaken him for the inside. Some enemies to use all Ottoman rivals, some hope to use border lords, some hope to turn alliances into terrors, and some believe that only terror can slow him down. From this fear, the shadow of Valid grown large. Valid Dracula is not shown as an ordinary enemy. He is not just a soldier on the other side of the battlefield. He is a man who understands fear and uses it like a weapon. Will Muhammad believes in order and state power. Walid believes in shock, pain, and darkness. He wants his name to travel before his army arrives. He wants village to tremble before they see his banners. He wants the soldier to imagine that before they enter his land. This makes him dangerous is a very different way. He does not always need a large army. Sometimes he only needs one crucial message placed in the right place. The conflict between Mehmed and Walid is powerful because both men know each other in a deeper way than simple enemy. Walid is not a stranger from a foreign land. He has a history connected to Ottoman world. He understands Ottoman discipline, court language, and military habits. He knows how to imperial things, and that makes him more dangerous. But Mehmed also understands Walid. He sees the anger behind Walid courtly. He sees the weakness hidden behind the mask or terror. Mehmed now that currently he sees the weakness hidden behind the mask of terror. Mehmed now that a man who depends too much on fear must continue treating fear or his own people will stop believing in him. The campaign becomes a battle between two ideas of power. For Mehmed, power must build something. It must protect road, cities, road, faith, and law of valid. Currently, his land become a trap. The forest become a wall. The night becomes his soldier. Every shadow may hide an enemy. Every silence may be part of his plan. This is not the clean battlefield of open banners. This is a war where fear travels faster than horses. In the latest arc, the tension rise around Tarogovitch. This is not only a military target, it becomes the place where Mehmed patience just and anger are tested together. The Ottoman main army reached the edge of victory, but Walid does not. He always does. He changed the rules. Instead of facing Mehmed with honor, he used innocent people as part of his defense. His plan, human life between himself and the Sultan army. This is a cruel trap because it attacks Mehmed's consciences, not only his strategy. Valid want the Sultan to chooses between victory and mercy. If Mehmed attacks without care, Walid can call him crueler. If Mehmed waits Walid busy time, this is where Walid plan is dangerous. These movements show the heart of Mehmed character. A laser rule words see only the wall. A ruler ruled by revenge words say that the innocent people are only the price of carried his dream this for only to become like the enemy he fight. His danger is real, his losses are real. Valid has hurt him, challenges him and pushed his army into suffering. The soldier want revenge. The new Sailor burned with rage. Commanders wait for order. The battlefield breathes like a beast ready to jump, but Mehmed must hold the beast by the thread and decide when the release it. This is where the series work as more than action. It gives the audience a question that is true strength. It is power or to destroy quickly or the power to stop your own hand when destruction would be easy. Mehmed's strength is not only in ordering an attack, his strength in carrying the weight of restraint when everyone around him wants fire. He knows that a sultan decision does not die when the battle ends. It becomes memory, it becomes law, it becomes fear or respect. A ruler who wins the with blind revenge may win one day, but he lost the moral ground of his state. Mehmed wants more than a burning city. He wants a future. At the same time, then Ottoman camp is under heavy emotional pressure. Soldiers have seen blood, they have lost brother, they have unmerged through harsh land, they have watched valid cruelty and hard stories that make sleep difficult for them. Mercy can clam hearts. They stand there with the dried bodies and burning anger. This is one of the hardest problem for any commander. Any army is not a machine. It is made of man. Man cry pain. Pain can become courage, but it can also become boldness. Mehmed must turn their anger into discipline, or the army would win the battle may lose its soul. Erdogan and the fighters around him respects these rough edge of war. They are brave, loyal, and ready to die, but they are not made of stone. They feel the insult of valid traps. They want justice, not now, not later. Their loyalty to the Sultan is strong, but their blood is hot. In such moment, commander's voice must be stronger than the noise of revenge. Mehmed has to show them that patience is not surrender. He has no proof that justice may walk slower than anger, but it reaches deeper. Ahmed Pasa and Basil bring another important side of the story. While the man attention is on the wall and the Sultan decision, they focus on movement, escape, and the hidden road in war. The enemy does not only lose when his front line breaks, he loses when his exit close. Valid is dangerous because he now how to disappear. He can streak at night, vanish into forest, and return with another cruel surprise. Go Ahmed Pasa and Basil task becomes vital. They must think like hunter, they must not only follow valid, they must understand where he would run before he run there. They must close the road before the enemy reach it. This creates a strong contrast in the story. Mehmed stands before the moral trap at wheel his commanders tighten the net around valid. One side is about consistency, the other is about strategy. Together, they show the full shape of Ottoman power. The Sultan must protect just as center, and his commanders must protect victory on the edges. If their side falls, valid, many escape again and turn survival into legend. Battles greatest weapon is not winning cleanly, it is surviving long enough to make people believe he cannot be catched. The series also bring the Kamran issue into the stories through Shahzadi dilemma. This is important because Imperial do not fight on one front only. Wheel Muhammad faces Validin problem rise elsewhere. New from Kamran creates pressure and stands at difficult across. His loyalty to Sultan Mehmed pulls him one way, the future of Kamran pulls him another. This kind of conflict makes the story more realistic. At state is never safe, only become one army is strong if one border burns, another enemy watches if one prize hesitates, another power may move if one family bond weakens. Political center the crack struggle is not only political, it is personally because one army is strong if one border burns, another enemy watches if one prize hesitation, another power may move, the family bond weakens. Political center and track struggle is not only political, it is personal. He must decide what kind of man he want to be. Loyalty it is easy when it costs nothing. It becomes real only when it demands sacrifices. If he chooses his own side too quickly, he may damage the trust of the Sultan. If he ignores Kamran, he may lose the people connected to his duty. This is the kind of situation where every path has pain. This series used this show that Mehmed words is not simple. Even those who are not his open enemy can become problem if their hearts are divided inside the Ottoman order. Loyalty is not only a word; it is the rope that hold the whole tents together. If that rope breaks, the wind enters from every side. Mehmed understands this better than anyone. He knows that enemy like Walid are dangerous, but divided loyalty inside the Muslims' land can be even more dangerous. An enemy outside the gate. Every discussion by princes or commanders and foreigner lords carries more meaning than it first appeared. The latest season also showed that Mehmed is no longer only the young dreamer trying to prove himself. He has become a ruler whose name itself changed the behavior of enemies. When he moves, kingdoms react. When he stops, wisps around. Why, when he questioned whether he could take constituent, now they fear what he will take next. But this growth also brings isolation. The higher our rule rise, the fewer power can speak to him with honest. The Sultan may be surrounded by hundred, but still stand alone with his final decision. That loneliness is one of the strongest hidden themes of Mehmed. Sultan can ask for advice, but they cannot share the burden of command fully. When the older is given, the responsibility returns to him. If man died, history does not blame the console first. It remembers the Sultan. If mercy saves lives but gives the enemy time, the Sultan carries that risk. If harness wins quickly but stains the victory, the Sultan carries that stain. This is where Mehmed's face often feels heavier than his crown. This crown is gold, but its weight is made of leaves. Walid tries to use this against him. He now Mehmed does not want to become a butcher. He now the Sultan cares about justice, so he turns innocence into a shield. This is the cruelty of a weak soul pretending to be strong. Valid traps say if you want me steps over the helpless. It is an attempt to pull Mehmed into darkness. If Mehmed becomes anger enough to forget his principles, Valid wins something even if he loses the battle, because then he can say that the great Sultan is no different from him. This is the real fight at it is not only over a city, it is over the meaning of power. Mehmed answer must be more intelligent than rage. He must find a way to break the trap without breaking his own justice. This is where the audience sees the mind of read the enemy attention, control his soldier, protect the innocent if possible, and still stop Valid from escaping. Such an problem cannot be solved by courage alone. It needs patience, timing, and the ability to see, travel, move ahead. Mehmed is dangerous because he does not let the enemy choose the whole game. Even when Valid creates the scene, Mehmed searches for the hidden door. The Ottoman commanders around him also show different faces or loyalty. Some are calm and calculating, some are fear and direct, some are wounded by past losses, some think first of the army honor, but all of them understand that the Sultan discussion will shape the next step. This soldier look at the walls. The people behind the walls wait in fear. Valid watches from his place, accepting the Sultan to fall into the trap, and Mehmed stand between the fire of his own army and the series of innocent. This kind of scene is where Mehmed Fidar Sultani continue to hold attention. It does not only ask who will win, it asks what will victory cost. For a simple war story, the answer would be easy: attack, defeat the enemy, rise the flag. But the story now that conquest without morality becomes emptiness. Mehmed greatness must be wants to build an empire that latest he must make even enemy understand that Ottoman power is not valid fire, it is controlled thunder. The fear of valid speeds spreads because he has turned crudely into his language, but fear has weakness. It grows quickly and it can coalesce quickly. People who obey only because they are afraid will change side when a strong protection appears. Mehmed, prisoner of fear. Some may have lost hope, some may have hate valid, but fear is revenge. The people see that Mehmed punished the cruel but protects the helpless. Valid darkness began to lose its hold. This is also where valid use of innocent people is seen. Desperation. A truly strong ruler stands before his enemy with his soldiers. A desperate ruler hides behind the weak. Valid want to appear fearless, but his action reveal fear. He fears Mehmed army. He fears losing control. He fears being remembered not as a mountaineer but as man who ran. His culture becomes louder because its his position becomes weaker. The closer Mehmed comes, the more extreme valid becomes. This is common in men who rule by strength. It only shows that strength is running out. The sea's final direction makes valid and Mehmed conflict feel like a final moral storm before the next chapter is more than a location. It becomes a mirror. In that mirror, Mehmed sees the kind of ruler he refused to become. Valid seen the kind of ruler he can never be. One builds meaning through discipline and variance. The other people to whisper his name is fear, but history is not kind to those who only know how to destroy. They might fragmented people for a time, but they cannot build a world. Mehmed's relationship with his soldiers is also tested here. Soldiers follow a commander in battle because they believe he can lead them to victory, but they follow a sultan through hardship because they believe his cause is right. If Mehmed gives into a revenge, he may satisfy their anger for one day but weakness their faith in his justice. If he holds them back without explaining the deeper purpose, he may create frustration. So his leadership must speak to both sword and heart. He must make them understand that saving honor is not always the same as spilling blood. Spilling blood immediately. Sometimes the strongest army is one of that can stop at the edge of range and wait for the right streak. This is very useful point of voice over script because it connects this series to real leadership. Anyone can make decision when the road is clear. Real leadership brings choose the path that protects the future, the easy option. This season valid make direction and Mehmed conflict feel like a final moral storm before the next chapter is more than a location, it becomes a mirror. In that mirror, Mehmed sees the kind of ruler he refused to become. Valid sees the kind of ruler he can never be. One builds meaning through discipline and vision, the order, the other builds noise through horror. One wants history to remember order, the other wants people to whisper his name is fear. But history is not kind to those who only know how people to whisper his name is fear. But history is not kind to those who only know how to destroy. They may fight people for a time, but they cannot build a world. Mehmed's relationship with his soldiers is also tested here. Soldiers follow a commander in battle because they believe he can lead them to victory, but they follow a sultan through hardship because they believe his cause is right. If Mehmed gives in to blind revenge, he may satisfy their anger for one day, but awaken their faith in his justice. He, if he holds them back without explaining the deeper purpose, he may create frustration. So his leadership must speak to both sword and heart. He must make them understand that saving honor he is not always the same as spilling blood immediately. Sometimes the saving honor is not always the same as spilling. Sometimes the strongest army is the one that can stop at the edge of range and wait for the right streak. This is a very useful point for a voice over script because it connects the series is to real leadership. Anyone can make decision when the road is clear. Real leadership begins when very option has danger. Mehmed cannot choose a painless path. He can only choose the path that protects the future. The easy option may be first attack. The harder option is control justice. This series shows that the Sultan Mehmed is always measuring more than the present moment. He thinks about tomorrow loyalty next month more than the present moment. He thinks about tomorrow loyalty next year's rebellion and the memory that will remain after the dust settles. The struggle with valid also bring out the spiritual side of Mehmed's character. His faith is not just only as decoration, it is part of how he understands duty. He believes power is a trust, not a toy. He believes victory must answer to God not only to politicals. This gives his discussion a deeper weight when he holds back from curtly. It is not because he is weak, it is because he knows that even a sultan is countable. This word in his hand does not free him from judgment, it increases his responsibility. In contrast, Walid act like a man who believes fear excuse everything. He thinks if people are afraid enough, no one will question him. But fear does not create respect. Fear creates silence, and silence is not loyalty. It is only waiting. Valid soldiers may fight for him, but may do so because they fear what happens if they do not. Mehmed best soldiers fight because they believe they are part of something greater. This difference is important. Armies built only on fear can be fierce, but armies built on belief can endure longer pain. At the Ottoman army close in the story create a feeling of a tightening circle. Walid's world becomes smaller. The forest that once protected him begins to feel like a cage. The road he used for escape, he watched the fear he separate begins to return toward the road he used to escape, or watched the fear he separate begins to return toward him. Ahmed Pasha and Bali base pressure adds this pressure. They are not simply chasing a man, they are closing the around him. If Valid escape again, his landed service survivors. If he is trapped, he landed cracks. That is way. Every path matters, every bridge, every dark road, every group of riders in the distance become important. The character of Bali Bey bring the old warrior separate into the story. He is a man of action, not but a fool. He understands the land, the speed of cavalry, and the man of men who run. Ahmed Pasha brings command and pressure. Together they show that Mehmed's strength is also in choosing people who can carry different parts of his will. A sultan cannot be everywhere at once. His truth reach is shown through the men who act in his name. When they move wisely, his power multiplies. When they fail, the enemy finds escape in this latest arc. Their love becomes one of the key to valid terror ends or continues. The series also keep emotional stakes alive through personal losses and old wounds. Mehmed is not fighting Valid as if this is only a borrowed problem. Valid has caused pain, he has taken lives, he has challenged the dignity of the Ottoman state. He has made the capital personal without removing its political importance. This combination makes the conflict hotter. A ruler must never let personal anger control state discussion, but he cannot pretend he feels nothing. Mehmed's challenge is to turn pain into justice, not revenge. This is easy to say and hard to do when the enemy stand almost within reach. The man around Mehmed now is hunger. They can see it even when he controls his face. A great ruler does not lack emotions, he masters it. This is one reason Mehmed's character feels strong. He is not cold like stone. He burns, but he does not let the fire burn the house. His anger becomes anger for action. His grief becomes memory. His faith becomes balance. His intelligence becomes the road through the trap. That is the difference between a man chosen by history and a man destroyed by his own rage. therefore becomes a place where many roads meet. It is the road of conquest after constructed. It is the road of Ottoman justice in forgotten land. It is the road of valid terror reaching its limit. It is the road of soldier damaging revenge. It is commanders try to close the enemy escape. All these roads create one question: can Mehmed win without becoming the image valid wants him to become? The question makes the season final powerful. The audience is not only waiting to see if Walid will fall, they are waiting to see how Mehmed will remain. Mehmed will facing the darkest kind of enemy, because some enemies attack your body, some attacks your army, and some attacks your soul. Walid belongs to the last king. He want to Sultan to lose moral control. He want to Ottoman army to act with blind violence. He want the world to see chose a call it conquest. Mehmed must defeat that plan first. Only then can he defeat the man behind it. The story also reminds us that after the conquest of Sultan Mehmed's mansion expanding, he is no longer fighting only to take a city, he is fighting to shape the map around that city. The Balkans, the Danube, Bonissa, Kamram, and other lands are connected to the security of the imperial. A ruler who capture a great capital must protect the road leading to it. If the border burn, the center cannot sleep. Mehmed understands that every campaign is part of a large design. His enemies may see separate battle. He sees a complete picture. This is why his wars are not random. He moves with purpose. He does not chase glory for its own sake. Glory is useful only if it strengthens the state. He wants control over routes, loyalty from rulers, safety for trade, and respect from enemies. Each campaign sends a message to friends. It says the empire protects its order. To enemies, it says the Sultan reaches longer than they think. To uncertain power, it says waiting on the wrong side of history has a cost. In this science, Mehmed Sultani works best when it shows the connection between battlefield and statecraft. A sword may win land, but administration keeps it. A brave charge may break a gate, but law decides. That happens after Mehmed's mind is always moving between these worlds. He can speak the soldiers before battle and then think about the future of a city. After battle, he can punish and still offer order to those who submit. This balance is what separates conquest from destruction. The latest development with Walid show the danger of an enemy who understands symbol. Walid does not only kill, he straight evil. He turns correctly into a message. He wants to Ottoman soldiers to feel they are entering a Kurd's land. He wants European courts to see him as the one man brave enough to resist Mehmed. He wants his own people to believe there is no safety except under his violent rule. This is where Mehmed must break not only army but also the meaning Walid has built around himself. A legend cannot be defeated by only killing man, it must be exposed as fall. The best way to expose Walid is to show that his terror cannot stop justice. If Mehmed saves the innocent, controls his army closes the escape road and still forces Valid into defeat. Then Valid loses on every level. He loses the battle, he loses the story, and he loses the mask. People will see that his cruelty was not strength, it was fear, warning, or more. This is the kind of victory Mehmed seeks. He does not want a victory that latest only unite until the smoke clears. He wants a victory that changes how people think. The tension around Shehzadi also prepares the ground for future internal conflict. Even when valid arc reach a peak, the series reminds us that the Imperial has made fires. Kamran is not a small matter. It touches old rebellions, local loyalties, family duty, and the future unity of the land. Choice can either strengthen Mehmed order of create another crack. The fact that this issue rises during the campaign show however Mehmed burden he cannot give his mind to one money enemy only. He must watch every direction. This is another reason the Sultan rule is lonely. A soldier can focus on the wall in front of him. A commander can focus on one wing of the army, but the Sultan must think about the wall, the army, the place, the border, the treasury, the people, the princes, the enemy court, and the name of the empire. He must do all this while men look to him for creativity, even when he does not know every answer. He cannot show panic. His clam becomes part of the army's strength. Mehmed's clam is not empty confidence, it is discipline. He has learned that fear separates quickly from the top. If the Sultan loses control, the commanders begin to doubt. If commanders doubt, soldiers feel it. If soldiers feel it, the enemy smells it. So Mehmed carries his fear privately and gives his people so resolve publicly. This is leadership at its hardest. He must be human inside and unshaken outside. The series other place him in moment where his eyes show more than his word. The viewer can understand that he feels the weight, but he chooses duty again. The war with Walid also tested the relationship between justice and punishment. Some viewers may ask, how can there be mercury in war? But the question is not whether the guilty should be punished. Mehmed is not soft toward or secretly. The question is whether innocent people should pay the price of valid crimes. Mehmed justice requires him to separate the guilty from the helpless as much as the situation allow. This is the what make him different from valid. Valid mixes everyone together under fear. Mehmed tries to restore order by making distraction. This is beginning of law. This difference matter for the future of conquered lands. People may accept a new ruler if they believe he can bring safely, but if they think he will treat them all as enemies, they will resist even when resistance is hopeless. Mehmed understands that ruling is not only forcing people to bow, it is making them believe that life under his order is better than life under choice. Valid gives people choice with a crown. Mehmed offers order with a sword behind it. The sword is real, but it is not whole message. As the army waits near, the atmosphere becomes almost spiritual. The soldiers heard the sound from the wall. The commanders study the enemy messengers. Man feels that a great discussion is near. In such silence, even a small order can change history. This is the power of the science. The battle has not fully exploded, but then pressure is already crushing. Sometimes the moment before the attack is heavier than the attack itself. Mehmed looks at the walls and see more than stone. He sees valid trick. He sees he innocent used as shield. He sees the anger who has a one man. He sees the eyes of history. He know that if he chosen wrong, the victory will taste better. But if he choose wisely, he can turn valid triumph against him. This is what great leaders do. They do not only escape trap, they make the trap reveal the enemy weakness. For a YouTube review or explanation, this part of the story can be presented as the point where Mehmed's real conquest continue. Was the conquest of a city become the conquest of anger? A man who can break walls is powerful. A man who can control himself when revenge is calling is greater. This series used valid to show that Mehmed's biggest enemy are not always outside him. Sometimes the enemy tries to awaken something dangerous inside the hero. Mehmed's victory depends on refusing that darkness. This is where the title Sultani has a wider meaning. It does not only mean the Sultan who conquered lands, it can also mean the Sultan who conquered field, doubt, disorder, and his own anger. Every new campaign becomes another kind of conquest. He conquers sides with Aramize, but he conquers history with discussion. He conquers enemy with strategy, but he conquers people with justice. This is the deeper reason his story still attracts viewers. It is not only about what he wins, it is about what he refuses to loses inside himself. The latest season final leaves the story at a high point because valid and feel closes, but the price of reaching it is still uncertain. The audience now Mehmed has the strength to defeat him, but the interest comes from how he will do it. Will escape again? He will Ottoman commanders close every road in time? Will discussion create a new problem? If will army anger be controlled? Will the innocent people survive the trap? This question keep the story alive and prepare the next section. At the center of all this question stands Sultan Mehmed, not the young princess doubted by older than men, not only the conqueror standing before. Now he is the ruler after the great victory, facing the harder truth that every conquest open another duty. His enemies may think he is tried. They may think the imperial has structured too far. They may think Kurtly can slow him or politicals can divide him, but Mehmed's power comes from seeing beyond the present storm. He does not move only for today's prize. He moves for a future that may around him still cannot imagine. And that is the heart of this section. Mehmed Sultani is a story about a ruler who understands that history is not made by one victory alone. It is made by the discussion that come after victory, when the old world tests whether the conqueror is also a build valid darkness, Kamran's pressure, the soldiers' anger, the place hidden worries, and the dangerous road of all greater around Mehmed like clouds before a storm, but the Sultan does not step back. He watches, waits, and prepares the suicide that will not only defeat an enemy but protect the meaning of in his rule. As the season reaches its final breath, become the place where two names stand against each other, Mehmed and Walid. One name carries conquest, order, and a vision of empire. The other carries fear, courtesy, and the latest desperate tricks of a ruler, meaning for the victory. And in that meaning, the true power of Mehmed is revealed. He is not great because he never faced darkness. He is great because when darkness comes close, he does not let it enter his soul. This is where the next chapter must begin with the Ottoman army at the edge of section where Walid trapped between his own courtesy and Mehmed patience pulled by Walid separate between his own clarity and Mehmed's patience difficulty duty and the commanders moving like shadow to close the latest road of escape. The war is not finished, but the shape of the ending has begun to appear. Walid still believes fear can save him. Mehmed now fear can only delay justice, and when justice finally moves, it moves with a weight that to forest no wall and no cruel trick can good back forever. The road to Targovicet is not only a road of dust, horses, soldiers, and banners, it is a road that carries anger, pain, fear, and memory of every innocent life touched by simple victory. He moves like a ruler who understands that one wrong decision can damage the messy meaning of all the ether. Victory proved that he could not break the strongest wall of the world, but ask a different question: can he break the enemy evil plan without breaking the justice that gives his rule its value? The Ottoman army stand before the city with tried with feet but burning hearts. These soldiers have marched through hard lands. They have seen the marks left by valid darkness. They have heard the story of valleys turned into place of fear. They have buried brother. They have swallowed pain in silence. Now, when the walls of Targressive rise before them, they see the enemy who mocked them, tracked them, and tried to awaken from the Sultan, and they will rush forward like a flawed Mehmed. But Mehmed does not give that order quickly. His silence becomes heavier than a shout. Around him, commanders watch his face. The Janissaries grab their weapons, horses, turning point, but only the Sultan can decide how that point will be crossed. This is the burden of commands. The army may decide on thing, the heart may decide another, and justice may demand on third path. Mehmed must hold all there inside himself and chooses without fear. Valid they understand this pressure. That is why his trap is so cruel. He now that the Ottoman May is angry. He now that Mehmed's soldiers are ready to attack. He now that a city under pressure can become a palace of chores if anger enters before discipline. So valid place innocent people where they can be used as living shield. He he hides is the behind helplessness in the act of a man who has lost honor but still want to survive. Walid does not only want to stop the Ottoman army, he wants to stain Mehmed's name. This is what makes the trap dangerous. If Mehmed attacks without through, innocent blood may fall. Valid, Valid can then say that the Sultan, who speaks of justice, has brought renewed blood may fall. Valid can to the weak. If Mehmed waits too long, Valid gains time. He may prepare another escape. He may create another dark plan. He may send message to his allies and turn delay into advantage. So Mehmed is forced to stand between